This week, I got to spend time in the South West Library, meeting those who use this space.
Many human cultures have given names to the full moon throughout the year. Different full moon names can be found among the Chinese, Celtic, Old English and New Guinea cultures, to name but a few. In addition, Native American tribes often used moon phases and cycles to keep track of the seasons and gave a unique name to each recurring full moon. The full moon names were used to identify the entire month during which each occurred. Although many Native American tribes gave distinct names to the full moon, the most well-known names of the full moon come from the Algonquin tribes who lived in the area of New England and westward to Lake Superior. The Algonquin tribes had perhaps the greatest effect on the early European settlers in America, and the settlers adopted the Native American habit of naming the moons. They even invented some of their own names that have been passed down through time. I just remember watching the black and white television at home, and watching even the children's programmes like Cracker Jack or whatever, we suddenly get interrupted because they were landing in the moon, or they were landing back in the ocean and the earth, or whatever.
So did you have was that television in your own house?
It was just one small black and white set in my parents' house. That was all. There was only the two channels then, BBC and ITV, and that was it. Yeah. It's not like now where you've got hundreds of channels and news channels and everything.
Were your parents interested in that as well?
They weren't as interested as I was. I don't think, although my father was a civil engineer, but he didn't seem to be quite as interested as I was. He was a civil engineer at British Rail. Well, I think from start to finish, I don't know the facts and figures here, but I think it was probably about 2 weeks between the run up to the launch and then the actual space mission, then landing on the moon and then coming back. And there was I think there was 4 of them altogether. One of them failed, there was 13 failed, but there was 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, I think, yeah.
What age were you in?
It was about 7, it was 7 in the first one, and I think it was probably about, when was the last one, 7, it was about 10, between 7 and 10. It only took place over like a 3-year period, 3-4 year period, and they've never been back since.
What do you think you would do?
Well, we didn't have it for, we didn't meet, there was a limited online presence, but we couldn't meet for almost 2 years. So I would just what I did instead was I just read through some of my old astronomy books from Glasgow University. And
did you miss?
I certainly missed being with other people, being together, and yeah. We missed the fellowship, I think, or the meeting, which is always a good point.
My name's Jason Orr. I'm the creative director of Rig Arts, and I'm also working on the design for the drying green at the South West Library project. The drying green project is actually it's an exceptional project that's came from the Dandelion project, which is basically we've been chosen luckily to represent Inverclyde as part of Scotland for a disused or a forgotten garden, and that logic just made perfect sense for us. This project is specifically a growing project, but my part as a designer means that we can enhance the growing of the community, the growing of well-being and creativity, as well as plant growing and fruits and vegetables, and addressing certain issues there. So the key thing for us is that we're open to the outdoor space becoming a place where people can play, they can learn. That's super important, that we all share skills, and we basically grow our community as well as growing all the skills that we hopefully will pass on to each other. The inspiration, I would say personally from myself, came from the conversations, the history of the area. Bruce and Christiana Bissett, who is our lead producer for the project, representing Rig Arts, and dandelion. They actually researched with local groups and identified that this area was very strong in the homes for heroes and that whole growing post-war fabricated homes and the need for people to actually have growing and have developing sort of plant skills and that type of thing to help the country come back. So this area has that great history. It developed very quickly in a creative sort of brainstorming session that the drying green was a perfect name for this outdoor space. Personally, I love the idea of it's a space where people would come out to work. So if you were coming out to do your washing or drying in the past, then you would meet the neighbours and they would conversate and tell stories, and you would know what was going on, and people would sing and people would sort of make jokes, and all of that spirit of the place and spirit of the people is what we want to bring back to this forgotten area. So that's the sort of the focal point for how the garden develops. Say skills, nature, an appreciation for nature, and also a support for each other.